Yo,
No,
sí,
sigue hablando. Dime, Meche, porque voy a checar.
no te escucho, güey, habla al micrófono.
No, I was saying that to keep talking porque voy a checar que el pinche audio se esté.
Ok, 3, 2, probando, probando. Le vamos a dar una arrastrada a la América hoy. Vale, es queso, yo.
Está bien, está bien.
¿Sí? ¿Se escucha bien?
No, hold on. Keep going.
1, 2, 1, 2, test, test. El pinche presidente vale pa' puro chile. A pinche Trump le dio diarrea con los frijoles Goya.
¿Qué?
A Trump le dio diarrea con los frijoles Goya.
Test, test, test.
Test, test, probando. 1, 2, 3.
Test, one, two. Ok, dale pues.
¿Se corta?
No, ya, listo. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the ETO Podcast. I am Joe Rodriguez, joined today by El Super Mojado. Super big day today. El Super Clasico Nacional between Chivas y las Águilas del América, brother. I know that all of us are excited, dude. ¿Cómo andas?
Oh, aquí waiting too. Ya las eché a enfriar, listo, todo para el Super Clásico.
This is the countdown show to El Super Clasico Nacional. As I mentioned, I am Joe Rodriguez. Y aquí Super Mojado. So today, as you know, our good friend and pal, Hugo Bernal is not with us. He could not be with us porque ya tuvo otro baby. Y aquí tenemos la foto de él y de su esposa y su bebé. Very beautiful child. So we want to congratulate Hugo for the birth of his baby. Looks like mom and baby are nice and safe. So felicitaciones para Hugo y la familia. So ahí está. Pero pronto ya tenemos otro miembro de la familia, Super, right?
Sí, yeah, congratulations, Hugo, and felicidades ahí por un nuevo heredero.
That's right. So Super, let's get right into it, dude. Let's talk about el Super Clásico Nacional, and dude, lots of things to talk about because, as I mentioned, I mean, el Super Clásico is probably the biggest game for most of us who are fans of Mexican soccer. I know that there's going to be a lot of, fans of Pachuca and Tigres and, some of those other teams, right, that are probably going to be like, no, El Super Clásico is not my big game. And it's true, right? But I think that for the majority of fans that are, fans of Mexican soccer, that probably is the case because that's probably the one game that it doesn't matter if you root for the team or not. You still want to watch, right?
That's for sure, man. I mean, just the two teams have two of the biggest fan base in the whole country. It's millions and millions of people. Chivas itself just has over 40 million fans. So, and not just in Mexico, but worldwide.
Right.
There's always Chivas fans, America fans worldwide, man. And this is the biggest game for our country.
Big time. I think that's the one thing that a lot of people underestimate. Most people don't realize America has like 40 million Facebook fans, man. 40 million Facebook fans.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Way, obviously.
Yeah. That's a lot of fans, and people just have no concept of just how big that is. That's probably one of the biggest clubs. It's definitely far bigger than a lot of the EPL clubs, a lot of the teams out in Europe. Chivas doesn't have that many.
Sure.
but Chivas probably has like around like, 15, 16 million or something like that. But again, remember, like Chivas focuses primarily on Mexican players only, and America has the advantage that they can pay, obviously lots of money for players from all over the world. Obviously, we have, they've had African players, they had European players, South American players galore. Oh, like some of the biggest stars from South America have come and played for Club America. But anyways, all of those stars come and get to play El Clásico, and obviously they get a very good impression when it comes to being one of the best games in this side of the hemisphere. Wouldn't you agree?
Of course, and
hopefully we get to see both teams coming in.
I mean,
at it, hopefully we get to see Miguel Herrera
for America and
keeping their best players.
They live
I don't want to see those.
They expand that to their countries because
at halftime.
These two teams, even Chivas that has only Mexican players,
do it for the fans. Do it for the
many fans from other countries.
Fans,
especially living here.
I
want
to see a good game.
I personally had
quality.
So many people
let's
that
win.
Like Chivas, and they're from Guatemala, from Honduras, from El Salvador,
good stuff.
all over the place, man. And it's like, wow,
even
these
two
4-3 teams, they move so much fan base, so much passion that they move is incredible, because to have fans
with that.
from all over, the world, like I said, it's amazing.
It is. It really is, especially when you think of what Chivas is, right? Again, Chivas, all Mexican players, right? Obviously, it's expanding to like the Mexican American community as well. But even so, for the most part, that's what I think makes it even more interesting and impressive. That the fact that even fans from other countries, despite having only Mexican players, they still have such a love for that specific team. Y América ni se diga, right? América. Again, I mentioned already about the luxury, but anyway, Super, let's talk about the actual game, dude, because again, the teams are coming in. I wouldn't want to say in very far contrast, but they're definitely coming in. Maybe I would say in this case, Chivas with a little bit more of an edge than America. So, what do you think that's going to happen in this game? Give me like your I guess best case scenario for the Chivas fans.
Well, I see a very good game, and
there's no other way around.
I hear a little background. Hold on. Technical, let's see. All right. Anyway, sorry about that, man. Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's a good game. It's gonna be a really good game. I think that these two teams. Anytime you play a Clásico, like I said before, when Cruz Azul and America were gonna play. This type of games, you play them at a different level. It doesn't matter if one is at the top of the table and the other one is at the very bottom. They're always, the passion that these two teams have for each other, the time they face each other, is incredible, and everything comes to levels. And it's just crazy, It's crazy, and I expect a very good game, and I definitely see a few goals being scored tonight.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see goals tonight as well, Super. It would be really hard to imagine. Really quick, saludos a toda la banda que está sintonizando. Saludos al Gerardo Fisher. Dice, saludos, hoy gana el América. And then he said, yeah, I hear noise in the background. I think he was talking about Hugo's babe. Oh, maybe, you know what? I know what it is.
No, I think it was on my side, but I fixed that, so I think we should be good.
Bueno, pues también saludos a las Samaras. Samaras watching, same thing. Nos saludan para regañarnos about the technical stuff, right? We got so many producers on behind the scenes that, we appreciate them letting us know. Saludos también al Philip Ortiz. Dice que las Águilas. What's up with all these Americanistas? Where are all the Chivas fans at? That's what I want to know, Super.
Right? Yeah, where are they, man?
Yeah, man. Que no manchen. All right. So, anyway, Super, let's go back to so we were talking about the number of goals, right? Number of goals that we're gonna end up seeing in the game. But I like Chivas right now because I think that Chivas has had like a little bit of both in the tournament, meaning highs and lows, right? So in the tournament, you've seen them. They started off like a little bit decent, then they lost to Tigres, and then The good thing is, by the way, that they're not playing against Tigres, because I think Tigres ya son clientes de Tigres and they would have lost. But anyway, that's a whole different topic.
And then luego se enojan, güey, los de Tigres.
But anyway, that's another conversation. Anyway, so then that's one thing, right? And then the other thing, Super, is also that they ended up beating Mazatlan. It doesn't really show much. I get it. But at the end of the day, dude, it's still a victory for Chivas. You know what I mean? So it's good that they had that, because ocupan que meter goles. A ver, dice el Gerardo Fiches, who needs the W most? And he says, after America, after that loss against Cruz Azul, or Chivas that hasn't beat America in a long time? I think that Chivas is the one that needs the victory more, dude. It's been over 3.5 years since Chivas beat America. That's a long drought. That's a really long drought, Super. What do you think? Does Chivas need the victory more over America or Cruz Azul? Which may not even happen, by the way.
I think that Chivas... Well, I mean, not because I'm a Chivas fan. Many people I know, they're going to say, este way, just Chivas. No, but I think that Chivas has momentum right now. And I think that their players they're improving, and they're getting to be more, se están conociendo más, they're like getting como que más confidence. And I think that Angulo, you've seen it in Angulo, that he was criticized so much last season,
right?
And he was getting like killed, man. They were like, oh, why is this?
Le daban duro,
to see
for sure.
So many comments, but you've seen that now he's stepping up for the team.
Yeah, 2 goals.
And he even, he even said in an interview, listen, some people say that la camiseta pesa.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't think it does. I just think that I didn't have, you have to get to know your teammates and play together. And it's slow. It's like changing from one place to another. No, not just on a team, but if you move, obviously you got to get adjusted to the place that you move.
Right.
And then you'll get to know everything around you.
Right.
It's the same thing when you move from team to team. You have to know your teammates. You have to know the coach. You have to work hard to get to where you should be. And right. I think that Angulo is one of the, it's just the case that is happening right now. He's more comfortable and more confident, so if he shows that on the field.
No, that's a fair point. Tenemos más saludos. Saludos a Elvia Sotelo. Ya tenemos finally somebody. Dice, Chivas le ganará a la América. There you go, Elvia. You get a nice round of applause because we definitely agree with you. Estamos de acuerdo aquí el Super Mojado y yo. También dice, Samara, she's also rooting for Chivas today. So there you go. At least it's kind of, evened out just a little bit. So we got somebody on our Twitch account saying, Ray, my G. Yeah, Ray Misterio. Yeah. Super. All right. So what does America need to do today best?
Well, they have to play it smart. They cannot. They have that goleada in their. I'm assuming in their mind still from Cruz Azul. That's probably still hurting them. So they don't want to get an embarrassment like that again. If you get 2 games, 2 clásicos in a row with a lot of goals, allowing a lot of goals, it's gonna be disastrous for you. It's disaster for you. It's Piojo is gonna feel the pressure. And let's remember that Piojo, this is some of the games that he was winning all the time. He had a streak that, he didn't lose a Clásico for a long time. I don't remember how many Clásicos he has lost. I think not many.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, they have to go on the field and just, do their thing, because let's just remember, America is a great team. And I think that it's just going to be a tough game for both of them.
Right. No, that's very fair. Dice el Gerardo Fisher, ya valió Zaparas la mala suerte. Pregúntenle a Necaxa. Pobrecita. But that's not true. That's not true, Samara. Wow. Today, you're the lucky charm, and that's why Chivas is going to win. All right. So then that's the America side. Now, on the Chivas side, what do you think is the most important thing that they need to do today if they want to end up making it to the final of the Copa for Mexico?
Well, they have to leave, let's just remember that the coach, Tena, has just come with COVID.
Right.
They have to take that off their minds, and they have to be just play the game. Focus. Concentrate on the game, and don't let that affect them, because having your coach on the bench I think is important. Because is your leader, and he's the guy that you're probably looking for answers when something's not going right. So he's not gonna be there this time. So they just have to do their thing. They're professionals, and put the best effort tonight.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. And I don't think that Luis Fernando Tena's absence, honestly, is going to make a big difference. But then again, some coaches do have that aura, and they have that ability to just motivate players. I want to remind everybody, coming up, we have a segment of our Latino Business Entrepreneurs. Today it's featuring Hugo Balta. Hugo is a very well-experienced, well-rounded individual. So if you want to make sure that you do not miss that segment coming right up, okay? So super. All right, now let's shift a little bit to the Cruz Azul versus Tigres matchup from last night. So that was the first semifinal, and I think that yesterday, for those of you that may have not watched the game, well, first of all, for those of you that did not watch the game, let me tell you this: Cruz Azul actually looked at some points as though they were on the ropes. They did not get the game-tying goal until stoppage time, right? But even then, it was like a game of two halves, right? The first half, it seemed as though like Tuca Ferretti and his team were a little bit more of the dominant. They kept the ball away from Cruz Azul. But something happened at halftime, because Siboldi must have talked to their team, and he said, you know what? You guys better get your act together, because if you guys don't get your act together, we're just going to fall apart. And they almost did, but again, it was a pretty interesting game. So, Super, what did you make of that game last night?
Well, it was tough. I thought it was going to be a little more, there was going to be more goals, a little more entertaining. It definitely left me like a little disappointed. It's Cruz Azul that they had been doing great things. Mm-hmm. They just made it. I mean, scoring the goal in what was it, minute extra in the stoppage time, right? It was in the stoppage time, like 93 or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what happened to them. They were doing so good. I mean, they scored, golearon al América, golearon a Pumas. You would think that they would at least give a little more spectacular, no? And I didn't see it from them. I just think that they got lucky on the PKs too, because they missed three each, right? Or until the
we'll get into the PKs in just a little bit later. Right now we're watching some of the highlights from last night, and as you can see right here, Tigres ended up taking that lead off that Quiñones corner. So again, that was in the first half, right? But even so, very little danger, very little opportunities were created by Cruz Azul, and again, it appeared as though like it was like a one-sided affair in that first half. But again, in the second half, Cruz Azul just ended up like stepping on the pedal. Super. So, in your opinion, what did you like the most about Cruz Azul in that second half?
Well, I just think that defensively, not allowing a second goal, that was key, and because if they would have allowed another goal, and with Tigres, you never know. You could end up, it would kill you, they will kill you. And especially having someone like Gignac, and it's hard. So I think that they did a great job in the defense, and that's what helped them get until the end of the game and scoring that tying goal. The defense for sure.
Le queremos mandar un saludo al Jair también. Saludos, dice el Jair. Joe, super. Saludos, Jair. Coming right up, actually, we're going to be showing you guys some of our staff. They ended up giving their prediction of today's Super Clasico, so make sure that you guys do not go anywhere, because that's going to be coming right up. All right, Super. So right now we're watching the goal of Cruz Azul. The goal that Cruz Azul scored was on a set piece as well. So it was a really nice, well, actually, this was just the opportunity right before, but here's the goal. And in the goal, you can see right here, set piece, right? Header, boom, right into the back of the net. It was the 92nd minute of the game, dude. So 3 minutes, there was 3 more minutes remaining in the game. So that just came at such an important time for Cruz Azul. And it was literally what the doctor had ordered, right? They were riding also the momentum into the penalty kick, showdown. And obviously, as you know, like, it's super important to have like the mental strength and the confidence. And I think Cruz Azul was riding that confidence, even though right now, as we see, like in the actual penalty kicks, they started off kind of slow too, right?
Yeah. Like I said, they lucked out because they were behind. They didn't seem like they were just gonna take it, but dude, I don't know. What happens to the Mexican teams every time in the World Cup, especially. Los malditos penales, man. It's something that it will always hunt us down, So it's just our luck.
Well, right now we're seeing also the resurgence, or something that could potentially play such a big factor later on. Not resurgence, I'm sorry, the surgence, because it's like he was doing bad, but the surgence of this goalkeeper, Andres Gudiño from Cruz Azul, who came out of nowhere, and he almost ended up stopping Guignac's shot attempt, right? And then you saw him just kind of like step up to the plate, right? So Dueñas scored on him, Guignac scored on him, but then as soon as he had to step up big, he did, man. And that's where it was just extremely impressive, dude. Like Cruz Azul was down at 1.3-1 in the penalty kicks. And then that's when, Chavo, Gudiño. I keep on thinking about the Gudiño from Chivas because obviously that's the other guy. But yeah, it's he ended up like stepping up just big time, dude. So did you get a chance to actually see him, and what did you think?
Well, I was surprised that did Corona, I missed that. Did Corona get injured, or it was just...
No, they just subbed him out.
So yeah, it was. I was wondering, like, why did he go in? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and not only that, but also keep in mind. So here's the save right here. We're seeing that first save that he had. And Tuca's face is priceless, man. He was just having it, dude. And here's he gets the right size. Boom, nice save, and strong saves too. Because it's not like these shots were not weak. Like these guys were like shooting missiles and trying to make sure that they were able to get, the ball into the back of the net, dude. But then also, like, Cruz Azul's shot takers ended up stepping up big. Cabecita Rodriguez ended up coming up big as well, for Cruz Azul. So he executed, among the other guys as well. Nos pregunta Philip Ortiz, what do you guys think about the fight that happened after the game? Don't worry, Philip, we're coming to that in just a second. So Super, So yeah, again, going back to the whole deep, and here's the reason probably why the fight started, right? So Pizarro misses the penalty, and that pretty much is what ends up leading to Cruz Azul's victory, because they just had to convert the next one, and that was it. So Pizarro ends up missing the penalty, and from what I heard or what I read through various social media outlets was that Siboldi was poking fun at them, and he was fuming. Tuca Ferretti, you can see here in the video, he's fuming, right? And Manuel Guzman is like, okay, whatever, you guys won, right? Cruz Azul ends up winning right there. But again, Super, the reality is that, if you're making fun of players when they're hot, it's just not a cool thing, man. And I think that if Siboldi was making fun of the guys, it's just such a low move, and it sucks because there's so much tension obviously after the game. It's so heated that the players are just ready to knock somebody out, dude. So Siboldi's kind of lucky that they didn't let Pizarro go after him. And then before I let you actually give me your thoughts, it's funny because you can hear actually Javier Aquino say in the background something along the lines of ni siquiera ganan, o tienen 30 años sin ganar, or something like that, and you guys are celebrating like you guys won a title. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, oh man. Come on, man. It's all over social media. They're killing Aquino, man, and everyone came out to say something. I mean, I get it. He was, like you said, he was estaba caliente, and he was just talking and talking. It happens especially on the playoff. If you lose, nobody likes to lose.
Right.
And I understand that it's not correct to fight and everything, but we're so used to it. I mean, just I remember the same thing happens over here in La Liga del Domingo. Everyone's fighting when they lose a game, and it's hard to cool down especially when someone's making fun of you. You just want to go at it, and there's different people react to stuff like that, in their own way, and unfortunately, some people son más calientes que otros, and they will respond. And Siboldi, yeah, hey, listen, man, you're talking crap. You just gotta take it then when the other players decide to bring it back to you.
No, you're right.
And then Aquino,
yeah,
and Aquino, I mean, I get it. It sounds like a hypocrite.
Right.
I understand, because you say, and hey, you haven't won anything in 30 years. First of all, that's not a fact. If he's talking about La Liga, it's only been 22 years, and that's what some people were like actually telling him in social media. Listen, what are you talking about? La Liga you're stupid, because it's only been 22 and a half years, whatever. And then he said, the point that they made about him saying, this is the team that saw you, they gave you the opportunity to grow.
Right.
You came out of la cantera de Cruz Azul.
Exactly.
Why would you be talking crap about them?
Yeah.
If I see a Chivas player say that about Chivas after they came out of la cantera de Chivas, I would totally agree with everyone that was angry.
Of course.
Because I don't care how much hot and your head is like blowing up. Just, dude, there's some things that maybe you shouldn't say.
Yeah, just mejor calladito te miras más bonito.
Yeah, especially you're walking right next to the press. There's microphones.
Of course, everybody's gonna pick everything up, man. I know, but whatever. Super, we're gonna have to go and take a little commercial break, and when we come back, we're actually gonna be airing our Latino Business Entrepreneurs segment. So do not go anywhere. This guy's actually very important when it comes to the world of media and journalism. Some of you guys who work in this industry may be familiar with who he is. So please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with that segment, okay? Hey friends from El Tri Online, Joe Rodriguez here with El Super Mojado, and today we're joined by a very special guest in the Latino Business Entrepreneurs segment. We're joined by none other than Mr. Hugo Balta. He is the owner of CT Latino News, among other things. Hugo, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, so obviously you have quite the amount of experience when it comes to the world of journalism. So we want to get really quickly into why CT Latino News, and talk to us about its origins, how it became, and how you basically got there.
Great. Well, look, I think, you start with Diane Alverio. Diane Alverio is the founder of CTLatinoNews.com, and she and I are connected through the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, of which I'm the current sitting president, and she's a former president. And back in 2012, when I had recently moved to Connecticut while I was working at ESPN, she reached out to me to congratulate me for being elected president in my first term back in 2012, but also to introduce herself since we were both residents of Connecticut. And back then, she shared with me an idea that she had about a platform, a news platform focused on Hispanic Latinos in Connecticut, but in English. And that was something really intriguing, and really for Diane, a pioneer in this space, really looking ahead, because of the nearly 60 million Hispanic Latinos in the United States, currently, a majority of them are born in the United States. They're English dominant, some are bilingual, all are bicultural. But when you look at the media landscape today, overwhelmingly, there is an abundance of Hispanic Latino focused media across all platforms, but in Spanish. So, despite the fact that the majority of Hispanic Latinos are US born, media is focused on the immigrant experience, largely all in Spanish, but largely the experience of people that are coming from Latin America into the United States. So that Diane was, had the foresight of creating a platform that spoke to Latinos like myself, the son of immigrants from Peru, was really, really pioneering. Fast forward to 2018, she and I kept in touch, but she reached out to me because she was finally deciding to retire full time and was asking if I would help her find someone to take over for her on CTLN. And I said, here I am. I jumped at the chance to be able to continue her work with CTLN. And CTLN is the only news outlet in Connecticut, regardless of platform, that's focused, that's dedicated to Hispanic and Latinos in English.
Hey, Hugo, this is El Super Mojado here. Welcome, and a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Well, El Trio Online focuses always the same thing. It focuses in the Latino community in English. Why do you think it's important for us to try to reach these Latinos in English?
Well, I think it's the same question that we ask, or that's been asked of other marginalized communities like the Black community, the LGBTQ community, the Asian American community, women, etc. It's that despite the fact that we might speak the same language, English, Spanish, the focus of storytelling, there are nuances in how you speak to and how you reach the Hispanic Latino community, in the same way that there are nuances in reaching the Black community, the Asian American community, and etc. So when you talk about El Tri, there are a lot of fans that follow El Tri, that follow the Liga MX, that are fans that never set foot in Mexico, that they're fans because that's who their father and mother followed, or their grandfather and grandmother followed. So it's really about being bicultural. So in order to reach them, you have to speak their language, but what's more important than anything else, it's that cultural competency. So the way El Tri is reaching to soccer fans, whether it's for El Tri or Liga MX, it understands that regardless of language, there's a shared experience in cheering for your team, except that there's a language barrier because look, many second, third, fourth generation Hispanic Latinos, the farther you go, the less you know Spanish, and maybe you know a couple of words that you learned from your grandfather, grandmother, or parents. But in order to communicate and really get that news and information, it's got to be in your own language. And so these are gaps that are left behind in English language media that news outlets like El Tri Online and CTLN are filling.
It's interesting, Hugo, right now that you were speaking about, the youth that potentially doesn't speak the language. I think really quickly of my nephews, right, that don't know Spanish anymore. They're quickly forgetting the language. And it's absolutely true. A lot of research shows that less and less children are speaking Spanish at home. Now, I wanted to ask you how your experience has been invaluable for you when it comes to managing something like CT Latino News.
Yeah, look, I'm a 30-year veteran of the media, of news media, and I've certainly leveraged my experience both on the corporate side and the not-for-profit side with NAHJ. And I think it's important, at the core, it's really about collaboration. As a manager, as a leader, I'm looking to create an environment of collaboration with, in the case of CTLN, with the writers and editors, really giving them a sort of a framework that they can then work and express, and sometimes even expand the original vision. But it's that collaboration that's key. It's about providing a platform for different voices to be heard, giving greater visibility to stories that unfortunately are ignored in mainstream media in English. And so I draw from my experience in building teams, building bridges, creating the environments for people to reach their to fulfill their ideas and to produce storytelling that is authentic, because it's focused on an audience that is seldom seen or heard.
Now, another question that I have, it's what are the toughest challenges that you face when you're trying to reach a community like this in English, and you're basically competing with bigger companies, like, because when we talk about English, this is like, we have so many sources that we can go to.
Sure. It's resources. Look, I don't have the same budget as some of the bigger outlets, whether it's on digital, television, or print. So resources is a big deal. CTLN, first of all, is not covering news in the same way as those large media outlets, and we're not trying to compete in that same space. What we're looking to do is really focus on, again, giving visibility and giving a voice to different members of the community, because we know, that Hispanic Latinos are more than just what we see in mainstream media, right? So what do we see in mainstream media? We often when we see Hispanic and Latinos, it's in a negative light. It's often around illegal immigration. It's often around crime. It's often around or categorized as being uneducated. And so we know from being Hispanic Latino that, of course, like in any community, there is some, members of the community that do fall under those categories. But we know Hispanic Latinos are doctors. We know Hispanic Latinos are lawyers. They're teachers. They're both members of society that are contributing in white collar and blue collar jobs. And so for CTLN, it's about telling those stories and building bridges with other communities that are taking cues from media that unfortunately is riddled with biased coverage of a key community in the United States that they don't understand and that they're not members of. Because when you look at big media across the board and you look at the makeup of those newsrooms, there's either a minority, if not, there aren't any Hispanic Latinos. What I'm trying to say is these newsrooms are not reflective and inclusive of the community that they covered. So every time a story is being produced about Hispanic Latinos, it's from the perspective of someone that's not a member of that community, and it's sort of like producing a story of the other, as opposed to what we do in producing stories that, in large part are produced by Hispanic Latinos for Hispanic Latinos. But it's also inclusive of other storytellers that have a pulse in the Hispanic and Latino community and understand what we're trying to achieve. So going back to, to your question, resources is the biggest issue. We don't have the same funding that those mainstream media outlets have, and that does prevent us from publishing as many original stories as we would like per week, per month. But it's not about quantity, it's about quality. And I really do think that we're doing a wonderful job of not only serving the Hispanic Latino community in the state of Connecticut, but also because of our partnerships and collaboration with other media companies and just our integration into all communities, really educating them about who Hispanic Latinos are and their contributions to the state of Connecticut.
Hugo, you touched on many very important points, and we agree 100% with you. Despite the lack of resources here at 3 Online, we also feel the same way. It's more about quality versus quantity. It's extremely important for us to make sure that we continue to be inclusive to our audience. Now, our audience specifically is heavily Mexican American, because of the sport. However, every now and then we also get, a couple of Peruvian Americans or, Chilean Americans, Argentinian Americans that may be fans of Liga MX teams because of a player of the same country plays there. Now, we understand that the state of Connecticut and the Northeast region in particular is a very diverse region, especially when you break it down within Hispanics, or Latinos, I should say. But let's talk about your approach of how it is that you deal with making sure that you're not missing anybody within the Latino community.
Yeah, look, that's an excellent question. So in the state of Connecticut, the majority of Hispanic Latinos are either Puerto Rican or of Puerto Rican descent. The fastest growing number of Hispanic Latinos in the state of Connecticut are Mexicans, Mexican Americans, and they're not coming necessarily directly from Mexico to the state of Connecticut, but they're moving from other parts of the country. And there's a large number of Peruvians, Colombians, Ecuadorians, etc. So our approach is really to start with understanding that, when you meet another, Hispanic and Latino, or when someone, asks me, hey, where you're from? I know where the question's coming from, but I can answer that question many different ways. And when it's specific about my ethnicity, it's really, I appreciate that I am a member of a large group that is categorized as Hispanic and or Latino in the United States, but I'm first and foremost Peruvian American. I'm the son of Hugo y Graciela Balta, immigrants from Lima, Peru. And so that's how I first self-identify. Our approach in storytelling is exactly that. It's being respectful that even though Hispanic Latinos are proud of their cousins in the Caribbean, in Central America, and South America, we're first and foremost very proud of our, of the direct line of origin, whether we were born in another country or the very closest relative, our parents, if they were born in another country. So when we tell the story, we don't try this one size fits all, as if this story is going to be going to have the same impact or interest to all Hispanic Latinos. We first start by how that person self-identifies. And so they self-identify as a Mexican American, Puerto Rican, etc. That's how we're going to tell the story, and then we're going to elevate that story and that conversation of the impact to the larger group of Hispanic Latinos in the state of Connecticut. So it begins with our storytelling. The other thing is having resources. It's about collaboration. It's about consistently partnering with other groups that do have the pulse of specific communities. And so there are excellent groups in Danbury that are largely focused on the Brazilian community, and Brazilians are, Latino because, as you know, Latino is more about geography than it is language. So, Brazilians are Latinos, but they're not Hispanic. Hispanic is about language. So a Spaniard is Hispanic, but not Latino. So to have partnerships in throughout the state that are covering different communities, and because of those partnerships, offering up what they're producing through our platform really helps us to reach a larger audience, and it also helps diversify the content that we have. And those partnerships, whether they're in Hartford, Bridgeport, New Haven, Danbury, throughout the state, that really helps us ensure that when we're telling those stories, we're not only being respectful of the country of origin or the roots of the subject that we're covering, but also with the emphasis of where we're telling the story from. So we're in Bridgeport, there's going to be certain nuances because of the Latinos and Hispanics that live in Bridgeport versus whether we do the story in Hartford or Waterbury or in other parts of the state.
Now, we're living through some hard times right now, and this is worldwide. But one group that in particular is hitting, I don't know if I want to say the worst or really hard, is like the graduates of this year. Like I've seen like around, how they're trying to do little graduations for a bunch of the 2020 class. What is an advice that you have for this year's class that facing that is already struggling like with this pandemic that they didn't even get to have a graduation. What do you tell these kids to kind of like encourage them to keep forward and follow their dreams?
Look, perseverance. When I think about what the students have gone through these last couple of months, my son included, who's finishing middle school, he's an eighth grader, and not being able to finish out his year with his friends, and certainly high schoolers not having a traditional graduation. They've worked so hard to achieve this goal. They're also missing out on so many different activities that seniors do, including a prom. It's perseverance. It is really trial by fire. These are the things that this experience is really going to help them in what comes next, because they're already battle tested. Distance learning is something that had to be invented in very short order, and that still is in the process of being fine-tuned. And for these students to be put in a situation which was for some of them very challenging already in a traditional classroom, but now having to do it remotely, and then have the discipline to continue their studies in an environment that is not as structured as being in a classroom, my hat's off to them. But they were able to do it. They were able to finish, and that's going to help them with what comes next, whether hopefully will be higher education at the collegiate level, or they go into the workforce. As a Hispanic Latino, we have parents, we have grandparents que tienen garra, no? They came to the United States, and I'll use my parents as an example. My father came to the United States at 21. My mother separately, because they met in the United States, came to the United States at 18. They came to this country at an age when most young people are finishing high school or starting college, let alone thinking about going to another country. But that's what they did. They went to another country. They didn't know the language. They didn't know the culture. And because of the need that they had, and the ambition that they had to better themselves, better their family, left behind, and their future families, that really served them well. We don't have to look far than small businesses to learn and to know that it's the immigrant community that is driving the economy of this country, largely through small businesses. So for these students that are persevering, they need to draw from this experience, which is difficult, and then say, where do I go from here? And use that adversity in order to be successful with their next opportunity. It's sad, of course, that they didn't finish out like they envisioned when they started as a freshman. But even though we've been separated because of stay home, stay safe, COVID-19 orders, we've never been more together, connected than before. And I'm really, I celebrate with them in their creativity, whether it's a drive-through graduation or even passing through their homes and honking and celebrating each other. That's what's beautiful about not just the Hispanic Latino community, but human beings. We find a way.
Hey, Hugo, before we start wrapping up here, I wanted to ask you, and obviously you being a journalist, you're probably going to hate me for this double barrel question, but also following up a little bit with advice, but this time to entrepreneurs. What kind of advice do you have for them? And finally, can you talk to us also about the goals or of what you see as far as City Latinos News future and its vision?
Sure. Look, my advice to entrepreneurs is it is in the times of crisis that we need to double down, right? I mean, it is like I said, there's opportunity in adversity. And a lot of industries, including the media industry, is hurting right now because of COVID-19. Business just stopped for 12 weeks going. I mean, we're still slowly in different parts of the country opening up, certainly in the state of Connecticut. But when it comes to media, that's largely dependent on advertising dollars, there are many independent news outlets that are folding, that they just can't continue to operate because of the hit that's happened with COVID-19. And to them, I really feel badly, but I think this is the time to either reinvest, rebuild, or double down, depending on your situation. And I think that I hope that many of them can stay afloat, or take a step back, reassess the situation, and come back stronger than before. There are certainly a lot of help, financial help, both at the state level and even focused on media that's out there, that certainly myself at CTLN and through our larger umbrella Latino News Network have been applying for, in order to sustain the operation in Connecticut, but also expand. And as far as expanding, again, one of the things that I'm looking to fulfill is our founder Diana Alberio's vision to have the CTLN statewide editorial, statewide community focus throughout all of New England. Just last week, we launched MALatinonews.com and NHLatinonews.com in the state of Massachusetts, in the state of New Hampshire. And we want to take that, again, state editorial, statewide community focus to those different communities in all 6 states of New England, to better serve the Hispanic Latino community that is continuing to flourish in different degrees throughout New England, but integrating themselves and authoring the future of not only New England, but this country.
Super Mojado, you got anything else for Hugo?
Well, no, just I wanted to, thank him for joining us today. And it was some very good advices, and very nice hearing from you that you succeeded in all the stuff that you went through to get there. So it's make us proud, and hopefully one day we'll be in your shoes and on the top.
I'm still trying to get to the top. So, but thank you very much. I think I'm the product of many selfless people that throughout my career have figuratively put me on their shoulders to help me reach higher, to see farther. And, it's my job to do the same. And so no one ever succeeds alone. If I've had any success, it's because of a lot of those selfless, smarter people than myself. And it's important for me that I feel it my responsibility to do the same, not only in the work that I do through CTLN and as news director of WTTW News and here in Chicago, but also in my role with president of NHJ, and in mentoring both students and professionals at different degrees in their career.
Yeah, it's great, Hugo. Thank you very much. As Super Mojado mentioned, for us at El Tri Online, it's also extremely important that we continue to profile Latino business entrepreneurs such as yourself, because at the end of the day, what we want to do is we want to celebrate success together. And we need to see more and more Latino business entrepreneurs, Latino-owned companies to blossom and, to be leading in different industries throughout the United States. So again, we want to thank you very much for your time. And if people want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
It's easy. Anywhere in social media, you can reach me at Twitter at Hugo Balta, LinkedIn. I have a professional page, Straight Talk on Facebook, and then you can email Hugo at latinonewsnetwork.com.
Excellent. All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Hugo Balta, let's give him a round of applause. Hugo, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back. Not that strong. There's no more Latino Business Entrepreneurs. We just finished that. I am not super mojado. I am Joe Rodriguez. I am Joe Rodriguez with Super Mojado. Super. We want to thank really quick Hugo Balta for that segment. Also, I want to send a couple of saluditos really quick. Saludos a Roberto Calle. Dice, saludos primos. Ha de ser tu primo, ¿no? Saludos super. Saludos también a Josué Maldonado. Dice, arriba las Águilas. A Elio otra vez de nuevo. Arriba las Chivas. And then also, I want to give a quick shout out to a very good friend of mine, Zoltan Chani Salcedo. Zoltan, a news director out there in Texas. He said the following, except that there are many areas of the country without Wi-Fi, without access to Wi-Fi or the equipment necessary. Over 30% of the families along the border don't have access to the internet. And those things are extremely true, Super Mojado. Very difficult for a lot of people to get access to Wi-Fi, among other things, particularly the Latino families, man. So, but again, we just got to keep pushing. That's what we do here at El Tri Online, try to support the Latino community as we grow. Super, really quick, I want to just play back the video of the prediction from the gang before we have to wrap up, all right? So why don't we do that right now so we can see what our ETO Familia had to say. Hey friends from El Tri Online, Joe Rodriguez here with El Super Mojado, and today we're joined by a very...
Hey there everyone, it's Berenice from ETO, and my prediction for today's match is 2-1, gana Chivas. Vamos!
This is Ramon Chavez from El Tri Online. Today, mis Águilas are going to win 2-1 against Chivas in El Clasico Nacional. These two teams have not met each other since September of 2019, so it's going to be a crazy, fun affair, and ultimately, mis Águilas are going to get their revenge against Cruz Azul.
Ivan Toribio here from El Tri Online. Today is the big game. America will prevail. Final score, Club America 3, Chivas 2.
Hey El Tri fans, this is Estelitude coming to you from Oakland, California. Here we go. Chivas, America, Clásico Nacional. I predict we're in for a real treat of a game. I'm going to say 2-2 by the end of the game. They're going to penalties, and America's going to win 4-3. It's going to set up El Clásico Joven in the final. Book it.
¿Qué onda, banda? El Super Mojado here. La sequía de triunfo de las Chivas ends this time. Las Chivas will defeat America 3-1 and will go on to face Cruz Azul en la final de la Copa por México. So that is my prediction, and I will see you guys after the game.
Hey, what's up ETO fans? I'm Jocelyn Maldonado y hoy es el Super Clásico. ¿A quién le voy? No tengo voy 1-0 porque saben cómo se ponen estos partidos. A ver qué pasa.
Hey, what's up, friends from El Tri Online? Joe Rodriguez here, come to you from Bristol, Connecticut. Today is el Super Clasico Nacional, and it's got me like biting all my fingernails. I think it's going to be a really tough one, but when it's all said and done, las Chivas Rayadas del Guadalajara are going to take the victory 2-1. Let's just hope that that's the way it goes. Está Super Mojado. So again, we're just minutes away from that game kicking off. Actually, the other thing too is that there's another person that we did not get in that video, but guess what? We actually do have him right now. He's so special that he gets his own little video. Let's check it out.
Let's listen up.
ETO fans, are you ready for tonight's game between Chivas versus America, or America versus Chivas? Obviously, you know who I'm going for. Let's enjoy this game. We're super excited. Everybody's super excited. Make sure you go to your TV. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow our pages.
Ahí está, el Jair también. Another super Chiva fan. Chiva hermano, again, Super Mojado, moments away from the kickoff between Chivas and America. I think everybody's just highly anticipating this matchup. All right, we already got your prediction, so it doesn't matter, dude. We already know that you're thinking that Chivas is going to win. Go ahead.
I just want to send a quick shout out to a toda la banda ecuatoriana that likes Mexican soccer, because they're a lot, man. And Roberto Calle is one of them. So, saludos, brother.
Saludos a Roberto Calle, saludos al Coronel también. Saludos a Elvia de nuevo. Everybody who tuned in today, thank you very much for joining us. Also, again, we want to thank our friend Hugo Balta for the very nice interview that we had with him. It's all about making sure that Latino businesses continue to grow. So, Jose Maldonado dice 3-0. Save this comment. A ver si es cierto. We're going to have to wait and see. 3-0. That's I mean, obviously, I don't want that to happen. Super, do you think 3-0? That's a little bit overreach, right?
I'll take a Chivas 3-0.
Bueno, pues. All right. Well, that does it.
And I'm ready, man. Voy a estrenar esta preciosidad aquí.
So, Super Mojado, no desaparezcas. You disappear when you put the white over it. On behalf of Super Mojado, I am Joe Rodriguez. Thank you very much for tuning in. Again, the game's about to kick off. Make sure you go watch it. We love our Mexican football here. So, again, thanks for all the support. Make sure that you guys continue to tune in every Monday and Thursdays. This Monday coming up, we're going to have Ricardo Celis joining us. And also next Thursday, we have the Cooligans joining us as well. So, again, make sure you take care of each other. Thank you very much for watching. On behalf of El Super and the rest of the ETO gang, I am Joe Rodriguez. Cuídense, nos vemos.